Hello everybody, it's me, Skull Queen. Welcome to another video here on Cursemas, where we are finally going to be starting our first build. And are you as shocked as I am? Because I know it's been a long time coming. So I don't want to waste any time. Let's get right into our project because this is going to be a big one. And what we're going to be accomplishing today is the entrance for Cursemas. And my plan is to really showcase the fact that our airport is perfectly aligned with resident services. And luckily I have plenty of space between the two structures, so that should not be an issue. And the entrance is always the most exciting, but one of the most overwhelming pieces for me, just because it really sets the tone for your whole island. It's usually the first thing I do, and I don't have anything else built up next to it to take inspiration from. It's just really about building from the ground up and starting the island. So sometimes I get a little bit of a creative block when it comes to the entrances, and then once I get going, I really feel inspired for the rest of the island. And this is exactly what happened to me here on Cursemas. I was just really overwhelmed with all of the space and all of the terraforming that I did not have and still had to do. But you'll see the process as I go through this entire build, and I'll be popping in and out to discuss my thoughts and how I kind of organize everything going into a build. But first, we do have to clean up all of these weeds and the trees from the area. So I'm gonna work on that and I'll be right back. So the very first thing I focused on was trying to get my pathing placed to head straight from our airport back to resident services. And so I opened up the Island Designer app, I placed the pathing, and I also wanted to have a bridge perfectly centered between these two structures. So I believe it was 5 spaces on each side and then a 4-space long and wide bridge. That is the shape I ended up creating with our waterscaping tool. And I did place a stone bridge initially, and I had the stone bridge throughout most of the video, but there was just something that was bugging me about it. I think what it was is the fact that the stone bridge arches and it kind of blocked your view from the airport back to resident services, and I felt like it kind of took away from the fact that I wanted to really showcase that it was centered. So later on in the video, you will see that the stone bridge ends up getting replaced with the wooden bridge. And of course, in my usual fashion, I decided I wanted to change absolutely everything. So after picking up all of the custom designs that I had laid, I decided I wanted this in-game dirt underneath my designs just to again showcase the straight line that I got so lucky with. And then I decided to expand the custom codes to match the width of resident services, just to kind of make this whole entrance like a town center slash plaza. And initially I did want this island to be more on the natural side, but just because of the map that I've been dealt, I feel like a more organized city-like vibe is kind of the way to go, especially here at the very front of the island. It might get more rural along the back and the edges, but I do want to have this kind of like little plaza just again to accentuate this symmetry. And as I was building this, I was kind of second guessing everything as I was going, but I'm glad I stuck with it because I could not be happier with the end result. And once I had all of my custom designs placed, I started placing some of the bigger items that I wanted in this little plaza area. Now, this is an extremely rough draft, if you will. I think I ended up changing about 80% of these items at one point or another, but I was just trying to get a feel of the overall vibe and kind of the general layout of how I wanted these items to be placed. Once I got that done, I decided it was time to move on to our ice rink. The inspiration for this just randomly struck as I was working on the plaza, but my rule of thumb when it comes to this game is if inspiration is striking, do not fight it. Just try to build it even if it's not 100% perfect right away. I feel like every single time I just go with my gut, I end up having a way easier time building up an island and more ideas just kind of come naturally. So I decided to just completely run with this idea, and right to the right of the airport is just as good a spot as any in my opinion. So once I had all of the custom codes placed for the rink itself, I decided to work on some fencing around the perimeter because we can't just have people flying and flopping all over the place, okay? Especially at the entrance. So we need some kind of containment here. I went with the iron and stone fencing just because it matches the entrance perfectly, in my opinion. And I did end up using some different items like a tree and some other type of barrier just to break up the monotony of the same kind of fence all the way around. At this point, I was fully invested in this ice rink idea, and I decided I wanted a cliff behind it as kind of like a backdrop, and also I think I'm gonna end up building this up way more in the future and put a villager home up here, maybe even another kind of build, but we're not gonna tackle that today, don't worry. I just wanted the front part of the cliff done so we can complete the full image of the entrance, just because you can see off to the side a little bit, and I did not want it to be just completely flat up here at the front. So while I had the motivation, I just terraformed a natural looking cliff from this side, and then I decided I wanted some of that black lace custom code right underneath the stall as kind of like the entry point of the ice rink. And right off to the left of our entrance, I decided I wanted to continue our terraforming project just to again add some height and some visual interest. I love terraforming and waterscaping in this game. It's one of my favorite things to do, so I definitely want to include as much of it as I possibly can. And we don't get into decorating this cliff at all in this video, but it is nice to have kind of a baseline of how the terraforming is going to kind of shape up. I usually like to start my builds with the terraforming and then the building placement, and then I usually decorate as my very last step. Just because the decorations are way easier to move, way more flexible than something that is so fixated like terraforming or waterscaping. And especially the building placement. You can always pick up a decoration, but to move anything else, it's usually a bit of a hassle. So that's kind of my general process going into any build, is terraforming first, then placing the building, then waterscaping around that, and then finally decorating and putting custom codes and flowers and the finishing details around all of that. After I spent some time building up the terraforming around residential surfaces, I decided to place a little patch of this black lace pathing, and then I ended up placing a spooky carriage and an illuminated reindeer right off to the left here. And I thought it was a cute little way to show that the reindeer were kind of pulling the spooky carriage. And we have finally arrived to everybody's favorite part, myself included, the decorating. And I just want to let you guys know that when I'm decorating, I am really kind of disorganized. My only thoughts while decorating are to spread out the heights of different items, try to spread out the colors, and since I'm doing a mixture of Christmas and creepy, I want to have a nice balance of those elements throughout the entrance. I don't want one side to be completely creepy and one side to be completely Christmassy. I want there to be a pretty even sprinkling of everything throughout the line of vision from the main entrance. So that was really my only goal going into this. I also run back and forth to my inventory so many different times, and I really just try to keep as much of this footage in the video as possible, just to let you guys know that I struggle too. Even though the end result might look great or amazing or whatever, I really have to take a lot of time when I'm decorating. It's not something that just comes perfectly natural and amazing to me the very first attempt. It really is just about the trial and error and trying everything out and seeing what you personally like best in the end. Let me just tell you guys too, it is a very good thing that I time traveled to the nighttime, because once I did that, I saw that there was a pretty big imbalance in the coloring with all of the illuminated items. I basically had all of the clear items on the left side and all of the colored items on the right side. So I had to do some rearranging yet again. I think in the future, I'm just gonna start decorating in the evening time because one, the illuminated items are beautiful, and two, it's just easier that way, so why wouldn't I? All right, everyone, here we are at the final walkthrough for our entrance to Cursemas. And I am so pleased and happy of this end result. I love that you have just a straight shot from the airport back to resident services, nothing blocking the path, nothing blocking the view. That was exactly my goal. We also have all of the terraforming built up to the left and the right of resident services. I even got some done to the back of it, so happy to get that out of the way. Then right off to the right, we have our little ice rink with some skate/ski rentals, of course. I also placed these 2 storefronts behind the stall just to make it seem like more of an actual structure. And that is our entrance for Cursemas, you guys. That is gonna do it for today's video. If you're still here, thank you so much. Please consider liking and subscribing. It would really help me out. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.